Hello and welcome back. This is Lauren Simpoli with Junior Achievement, and today I am here with Mr. Tom Scott. He is the Chief Information Officer for Stihl Incorporated. Tom, thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, you're welcome.
It's good to talk to you. To start off, can you tell us a bit about your job, like what the day-to-day is like for you?
Sure. Well, first off, the scope of my responsibilities include pretty much everything technology and information oriented at Stihl. So it includes all the business systems, things that run the business like finance systems and manufacturing systems. And it also includes all the technology like networks and telecommunications, data and phone lines, the actual telecommunication devices, servers, desktops, laptops, the things people use. And so, it's kind of the scope, and my day-to-day is very different every day. It all depends. We could be troubleshooting some problem, could be launching or working on major projects. I could be attending other meetings with other business people, talking about strategy and other things. So it's one of the things I like about my job. It's very diverse and never kind of the same thing.
Yeah, every day is different.
Yeah,
I appreciate that about my job as well. Like it's always interesting because you're like, ooh, what's going to happen today? So how did you get to this point? Like, you didn't wake up one day and you're like, I'm a CIO. Like, tell us about your career journey.
Yeah. Well, it starts probably with my educational background. I got my a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from Brigham Young University.
Okay.
And then I went to graduate school to the Krannert Business School, which is Purdue's business school, and got it's actually a Master of Science in Industrial Administration. It's the same thing as an MBA. It has just more of an industry-oriented flavor to it there at Purdue. So coming out of that program, one of the companies that heavily recruited Purdue was Arthur Andersen and Company. And they had one of the largest information technology consulting practices in the world. Today, that company's Accenture, which is fairly well known. And so I had some exposure to systems, but I really didn't have it necessarily in mind. I didn't go to school targeting that. It was just, it was my best opportunity coming out of college. It interested me. Purdue's in Indiana. It was near Chicago. This was the Chicago office. It's the headquarters of Arthur Andersen. And they actually have a college there, their own college, where they train people how to do information consulting. So I got going down this information path that way, and started on a variety of consulting jobs, and then left to go into other companies
and made your way to Stihl eventually.
Made my way to C-level, and then along the way, I actually became a chief operating officer, where I also owned distribution. These are for retail companies, so distribution, warehousing, customer service, call centers. Had human resources for a while. But here at Stihl, I just have information technology.
Gotcha. Okay. So, so you said you majored in business originally, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So what was what did you want to be when you grew up? Like, what was the dream?
Well, in grade school, to be president of the United States.
Sure. I can get into
But
that.
am I glad I'm not that now?
Oh man, especially currently, yeah.
And then I suppose in school, I really I knew I wanted to be business at a fairly high level. Back then, the term chief wasn't used so much, but I just wanted to be in whichever path I went down in business. I wanted to reach the top of my field there, which in my field is the chief information officer.
Yeah.
And I actually, surprisingly, I reached it at a fairly young age. I've been a CIO now for probably over 20 years. So I was in my 30s. I thought it would be in my 50s or somewhere. And so I kind of had to, I've met this. Now I kind of had to, invent a new game, so to speak,
Sure.
to play. So
That's cool. Good for you. That's fantastic. So speaking of, so kind of, keeping things interesting, always trying to improve, like, is there anything that you're like, oh, like I want to improve my skills at like XYZ thing? Like, how do you kind of keep yourself current in your job?
well, first off, I'm always trying to improve capability, and no matter what. My
Right.
family jokes about that. I'm always wanting to learn, new things and reach a level of capability. In fact, my daughter bought me this subscription for Christmas called Masterclass.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, have you seen that? Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bunch of all famous people who kind of reached the top of their profession. So right
Mhm.
now I'm taking the cooking class by Gordon Ramsay, and
Oh,
I did.
I saw the preview for that. It looked really good.
Yeah, it is. And Annie Leibovitz for photography, and this famous barbecue guy, and
Nice.
Carlos Santana. I started listening at his thing at guitar. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get involved in just a wide variety of things, and try to gain confidence in it. From work specifically in information technology, it's pretty tough to keep up with
Sure.
technology because it's ever changing. But the
Absolutely.
best way I do it is through my people. They
Mhm.
stay more current in their own specific area, and I, stay current with them. There are a lot of things we do which are, time tested. They're things I was doing 30 years ago in the profession.
Mhm.
But, in terms of learning about new technologies, we have conferences we can go
Sure.
to, and vendors will come around and try to interest us in those things.
Right.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's a
I like
challenge.
that. I like that. So professionally and personally, like always learning, always kind of honing your skills. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, so do you have any advice for somebody who kind of shares your dream of like, I want to, whatever field I go into, basically, like I want to end up at the top of it. What would you say to that individual?
Well, I would share with them some of the best advice I got from a mentor who asked me, well, what do you want to be doing 5 years from now? And I said,
Okay.
well, I don't know, maybe be a this or a that. And she said, no, look, you need to make it concrete. Like, picture yourself 5 years from now. What are you doing? Are you sitting at a desk? The phone rings. Who's on the phone? Who are you talking to? And what are you saying? Are you, are you walking onto the corporate jet? And if you are, who are you walking onto the jet with? Get a really concrete picture in your mind of what you wanted to do. And so
Yeah.
I did that, and I've done that for a lot of my career, and it really helps to paint a very specific and concrete picture about what you're doing. It helps you stay focused, and it helps you keep a big intention that
Hmm.
kind of drives you all the time. The second thing is, I'd say, if you are interested in progressing and advancing, I tell people a lot, you know what, you almost need to be, to whatever extent you can, without sort of breaking the rules of accountability and hierarchy, start acting in the new position
Hmm.
before you have it. I've had a few positions where it was like, well, he's already doing the job. Well, let's give him the title kind
Yeah.
of thing. And that's the best way to do it. And to not think like, I sometimes run into people who think, well, I'm owed this. I've been here a long time and
Right.
done a good job, and they may not just be the right person for the job, and they're not acting like they could do the job. So you
Yeah.
actually start doing things that illustrate you can do that next
Hmm.
position, and find a mentor. I'm mentoring my replacement, a couple people right now,
Okay.
and I'll have conversations with them and say, okay, so you're in my chair now. Here's the situation I'm faced with. What I'd like your input on what you would
Right.
do. And then I'll coach on, well, okay, here's what I'm thinking. And,
Yeah.
we'll even collaborate. It's both helpful to me, but it also helps mentor them. So find a mentor, find
Okay.
someone who can help. Don't be so proud that you aren't willing to ask someone to help you through
Yeah.
the ropes, so to speak.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that a lot. And I like that you were learning from your mentee and they're learning from you. So it's a back and forth process. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, so, we're in the advice portion of things. Do you have any advice that you would maybe give your younger self? Because I like to say that, I like to hope that somebody watching this might be a younger version of you. So,
Yeah. Oh, advice for my younger self. That's a tough one because I can be hard on myself sometimes and think, oh, I could done a lot of things different or better.
Mhm.
I I no.
No. Okay. All
No,
right.
and I think the message behind that is, I mean, there's so many things that I know I could have done different or better,
Sure.
and is there
Sure.
some advice? But I think it's just, don't look so much back. Maybe this is the advice I give myself. Don't look in the rearview mirror quite so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I think you ought to be a little bit in the rearview mirror, but maybe 80, 80%. I mean, no, 80 to 90% looking through the windshield,
Sure.
maybe 10, maybe 20 in the rear view
Right.
mirror.
Like maybe like 80/20, like the good like burger ratio, same thing, like 80% looking forward, 20%.
Yeah, exactly. I think I spent more than that looking in the rear view mirror
Yeah.
sometimes. So
Well, and it's that idea of like hindsight is 20/20 because like, especially personally, you're like, ah, if I had only blah blah blah, but like
yeah,
you the best. So I like that. I like, like definitely kind of keep in mind your past actions and past events, but don't let them prevent you from moving forward.
yeah, exactly. There's learning there. Get the learning, but don't dwell on it and don't let it hold you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's good. Um, so, how many individuals are you in charge of in your position?
Oh, we have about 60 people
Okay.
right now.
So I'm sure you've been through the interview process and whatnot. So do you have any memorable moments of what to do or what not to do in that time?
Yeah, if you're interviewing, there's two key things to remember. It's
Okay.
one of the hardest things to do because you're both the salesperson and the product.
That's true.
So you actually do have to sell yourself, which is hard for some people.
Hmm.
A, just doing it, period, and then other people just doing it in an effective way
Hmm.
is is one thing. But you really need to do that. The best thing is to keep it accomplishment oriented
Okay.
and keep it as factual as you can. Unless, well, I'm a good guy and I'm great and but here, in 1989, I built a rocket and sent it to the moon. Whatever it is you've done that is noteworthy and accomplishment, keep it accomplishment. And
Sure.
probably more important than that, though, is talk newspaper style.
Okay.
Newspaper style, if you, well, the kids maybe are looking at this, maybe they don't even know what a newspaper is, but
That's true.
if you do,
Great.
the way newspapers are written there's on any story there's a headline, and then under the headline there's maybe a subheadline, kind of a tagline,
Hmm.
and then there's the first paragraph and then other paragraphs. The headline is supposed to give you enough to know whether you are actually interested in reading more.
Hmm.
And the tagline can give you enough to say, yeah, okay, I get the essence, I'm done. And then the first paragraph is really supposed to summarize the rest of the article so people who only want to go that deep can get the essence and be done.
Hmm.
And then if you want more detail and other things,
You
then
can.
you can read the rest.
Mhm.
Too often, most of us, including me in a big way, have the propensity, well, I need to build context, I need to give them a background, and then they'll understand my punchline.
Right.
And it's a little counterintuitive then. It so does not work for interviewers. Interviewers want to, if you're interviewing a lot of people, you just want to get to the essence of things. So give a headline,
Sure.
maybe the subheading, and then if it's a really important question and you can tell they want it, give them the first paragraph.
Hmm.
If they want more, don't say more until they drive you there.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so if you've talked more than 2 minutes on any particular topic, you've talked too long.
Hmm.
And you probably only should go 30 seconds without being driven deeper into the conversation.
Okay. Okay. Oh,
That's the best advice there is newspaper style.
I
And
like that.
I've known it, I know it for years, and sometimes I still find myself interviewing or even in other conversations doing the opposite of
You're
newspaper
like, sorry,
style.
bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, IT people in particular, we're very detail and
Sure.
oriented, concrete. We kind of start that way naturally, but
Sure. Sure.
that's the key thing.
I like that. I like that a lot. I had not considered it that way, but like it's an excellent point. That's great.
Yeah,
Um,
accomplishment, newspaper style, and focus on accomplishment.
yeah, and sell yourself.
Yep.
Um, so I understand y'all didn't have to do the kind of work from home because you had the office space. You were able to adapt to the current situation. But do you have any kind of takeaways from the current uh, the COVID and everything that's going on in terms of how it's affected how you're doing business currently?
Well, yeah, for us, it has not affected too much. Well, it has because we thought our business was going to drop off. So we even
Sure.
started taking off a few Fridays. I think we
Okay.
did that twice because we felt like, especially in our manufacturing, we'd be overproducing and
Hmm.
we'd be sorry later in the year.
Right.
Well, turns out we're having,
The opposite problem.
yeah, we're having really solid sales. So we're not only happy
Everyone's out
with,
there doing like working on their yards, man.
yeah, and it's actually a lot of chainsaws. We're not quite
Oh,
sure how,
well,
what's driving that, because people don't typically use chainsaws in their garden.
well,
But
maybe they just been like waiting to take that tree down, and we got the time.
yeah,
So.
that could be it. And they got a little extra money. Maybe that's it. We're not
Yeah.
sure, but we know we've seen really solid business, and some of it is that, I'm sure. And so, uh, yeah, I think it's just, the key thing with us, we've had to be very nimble.
Hmm.
Stop working Fridays and adjust to that. And all of a sudden, nope, now we're working Fridays again. And now we're
Just
actually
kidding.
working
Yeah.
overtime. And so and trying to do meetings. So we have a national meeting every year at
Mhm.
this time. And we just had 2 sessions of it abbreviated, virtually. There's 80 people on the phone from all around the country and Canada and people from Germany, and it's
Mhm.
just so much harder to do than in person, and you don't get
Right.
the kind of interaction, but we've had to adjust how to be effective in that
Yeah.
way. Talk newspaper style,
Yeah.
because we are dramatically short in the amount of time we spend.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Yeah, I think, the Zoom technology and the being able to video conference, like it's great for like a monthly, like a board meeting or like a weekly staff meeting or whatever, but like for a conference style, I'm involved with the communication department at ODU. And so they're talking about like what they're going to do with their, they usually have a conference that's right before Thanksgiving every year. It's the National Communication Association. And like, what are they going to do? And yeah, I think you just get to like, with so many people and it's just like such an intense process that like that's one of those things that really kind of like needs to be done in person. But I'm glad y'all were able to kind of adapt at least to handle it for the current time. So,
yeah.
well, with your occasional Fridays off or maybe some additional time currently, have you been binge watching anything in the quarantine?
No,
No,
not binge watching.
that's fair.
I suppose I've been watching a little more TV than I normally do, but
Sure.
it's usually some series my wife might be watching. I'll join her
That's
for
nice of her.
that. And she's watching some British
Ah,
detective series right now. We did watch, I guess this was over Memorial Day, we did watch a few Harry Potters that were
cool.
on. So
Oh, I
with
love
my
it.
kids. So I went to see one of my kids and their grandkids. So
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so like that really speaks to me.
yeah.
Um, that's so cool. Oh, that's good. I love that. Well, to go with your watching, do you have, and I've asked everybody this question, so I'm gonna ask you as well. Do you have a go-to like I'm watching a movie or whatever, like snack that you turn to?
Oh my. No, I really don't. I've been eating much healthier
See,
the
okay, that's
last
what I
two
was
or
just
three
thinking.
months. Since you've
Yeah.
seen me, I think I've lost 20 pounds
Oh, well done.
and I'm working out more. So I'm not snacking so much, but if I do, I'll probably snack on cashews
Okay.
or what,
Get those healthy fats.
barbecued meats. I've been barbecuing a bit
Oh,
more. So
yeah,
I just did a brisket this weekend, and so I'll
delightful.
snack on that a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, some burnt ends, like they're the best.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor has a smoker, and like I'll just be like out minding my own business, and I'm like, "Hey friend, like what you making over there?"
Yeah.
So,
As the smell wafts over.
oh my God, it just comes on over, and I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Um, that's fantastic. Well, Tom Scott, thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
All
Good.
right, we'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon.
Okay.
Cool. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. See you.
Perfect.